Hey, welcome everybody. We're back for another installment, and I'm so excited to have you here with us this evening so we can get into this topic. We are talking about getting through goal planning and strategic planning for the next year going into 2025. So you don't go sputtering in, you go in on full steam ahead. And tonight is one of those transformative conversations that's very simple, but if you approach it for the coming year, it'll set you up so that you can definitely uh, execute. And you can execute on all of those dreams and goals. It's about capturing and organizing your goals using digital tools. One of the earlier conversations I had was you could start your planning using plain old paper and pen. But ultimately, and that is true, you can. It works. And I actually use that. I do my initial thinking on paper and pen. You've seen my notebooks, they stay with me. But I then transfer those ideas and goals and plans and details into digital tools because that makes me see them. So as we are gearing up for 2025 and reflecting on what we want to achieve and to advance our careers, advance our business, enhance our personal lives, develop new skills. Well, we're going to use some simple tools tonight. Before I get into all of that detail, however, I want to see who's out there and welcome you all. And if you are new here, go ahead and put in hashtag newbie in the chat so that I can make sure I call you out and welcome you to this community. And of course, those who've been here before and you're a part of the regular tribe, go ahead and put hashtag live tribe in the comments and we will move forward. So let's see who's out here. Who is in the building with us this evening? Let me see if I can get this right. Let's see if I can get, yep, there you go. Aha. Hello, Miss Denise. Thank you. That's so kind of you. Looking forward to this one. Yeah, it's one that I've had to work with. And Frank, welcome to the tonight, and you're part of the Mod Squad. Thank you for hanging out and being here and always serving. And we have Mr. David Hunt in the building with us. Thank you. Mods have a moderated salute to you, sir. Hey, Obs. Hey, look, I didn't tell you earlier today. I was working on this script tonight when we were writing together. Just saying, you be helping me. You holding me doing some accountability over there. Um, and yes, Yolanda, I totally enjoyed your stream last night, your show last night, and that bee traumatized you. You are still talking about it. It traumatized you. And good evening, good evening, good evening, NNA moderator. Salute to you. Glad to see you here, and hoping all is well and things are going well for you. So as other folks come in, please just go ahead, community, and let's just greet them and have them hang out with us and enjoy some of the content this evening. And I'm going to talk about I'm not doing a lot of slides and bullet points and stuff tonight. I do have some demonstrations I'm going to do. Y'all just be ready to laugh because I'm going to do something silly. But we're going to talk about using digital tools that are helping you that will help you simplify your process and cover things like task management going into the new year's where you keep your to-do list and your checklist and all of that, your note-taking platform, things that I talk about, but looking at it from the lens of planning and preparing for going into 2025. One thing new that I want to talk about is habit trackers and routines, having those routines built in and captured so that you see them every day. And doing a little bit of collaboration, having your system set up to collaborate with others who you will work with throughout the year, your team, whether it's family, colleagues, whatever, associates, contractors, a way that you can collaborate. And it's indeed because many of you who are here in the building tonight, you're content creators and you collaborate with people on different shows. So having a way to have the information, the documentation that you want to share back and forth easily accessible is a boon to your productivity. So here's our goal is to have you have a toolkit of resources that you can use. And you let me just say this. I'm going to show a couple, but you can use different ones. Use what works for you. I will show you a couple of ways to use what I call kind of all in one type tools because I tend to many times lean toward those, especially for people who are getting started using productivity systems. So, the main thing is they allow you to monitor your progress and help you stay inspired as you execute. Goals and plans are worthless if you do not execute. So, we're talking about making sure you can execute on those goals and desires and aspirations that you set. Again, we're going to talk 5 categories: task management, note taking, calendar. I didn't say that earlier. Your calendar, habit tracking, and collaboration. These are categories of productivity tools and that you can employ. So let's talk about them starting at the top. Task management. Why am I starting with this? Because it's about execution, right? You have to be able to execute on the thing that you said you wanted to accomplish. You're going to have action plans with clear steps in very, very specifically worded tasks that you want to accomplish. Hey, Gretchen, and welcome to the show tonight. Loved your show last night. I got a little bit of it before I fell asleep, and I always end up going back watching them again. And welcome to the show, the Emotional CEO as well. See you guys out there. So, task management, and there are a couple that I'm going to talk about, but these are whatever you use. This is essential for keeping all of those action items, it's an action tracker. You can use apps like Google Task. Focus, which is a Mac only task management tool, is my tool of choice, but I actually do I'll show you where I do a slightly different thing using Evernote. But some tools you can use. Apple Reminders. If you are in the Apple ecosystem, Apple Reminders has come a long, long way. You can use it as your task management tool. Another great one is TickTick. It's inexpensive and it has a lot of capability built into it. Todoist is a granddaddy type task management. And if you love Kanban boards, Trello. I'm going to leave Notion for a little bit later. But so just write down some of those if you don't use anything. Some that you can consider: Google Task, Apple Reminders, TickTick, Todoist, Trello, and I'm going to say OmniFocus. Although if you want to try OmniFocus, it does have a steep learning curve. But I've been using it for a long time, which is why I stick with it. And I've got a lot of project automations that I've built up in it. So, task management, you also want to take some time now and do a little purging and cleanup. If you have a digital system where you've just been dumping things in, dumping, and you haven't really addressed a lot of those items that you've put in there, take the time now, now in November and do some purging. Clean out stuff that you'll never do that. There are things that you've captured, you'll never do them. And so just clean them out so that you go into the new year with a clean system and then use it to set deadlines, real deadlines, not fake deadlines, and help you prioritize the things that you need to do. You can use urgency and importance even if you're using a linear task management system. What's urgent and what's important? They don't have to be the same. They can be urgent and important. Many of us tend to focus on the urgent thing, the thing that's right in front of us, and we forget about the important things. So having this task management tool will help you see the important, so that you don't forget about it and you get distracted with just handling things that just came up today, in the last hour, in the yesterday. So urgency and important is important. S- And you can use these tools that I've talked about to easily see everything that's on your list and not forget about your goals, because you've broken them down into small, actionable steps to take. Okay? Let's move on, because task management it's a whole thing, and we talk about it quite a bit on this channel, and I started with that. And if you use a task management app today, let me know what it is. Put it in the chat. I'd love to see some of the ones, especially if they're ones that I haven't mentioned. So next up is note taking. For me, and the way I look at it, and I help clients and friends know, your note taking is your hub, because everything we start with starts with a note. Whether it's a you jot something down on a 3x5 card, you jot something down on the back of an envelope, you jot something down on a sticky note, or you capture it into a note taking app. Everything starts with note taking. Even your task start with note taking. You write it down. So for me, I encourage everyone to understand your note taking is your hub. It's the core, it's the central, it's the main part of your productivity system. And what does that have to do with goals? You're going to have lots of notes, research, ideas, mind maps, drawings, doodles, pictures. You need a place to capture all of that and have it organized so that you can get back to it quickly. Some of the tools you can use, in this case, I do like Evernote. You know that if you've ever been here, I love Evernote. But another great one is Notion. A lot of people have navigated to Notion, but there are others. I'm going to suggest that you, again, look at the Google ecosystem, because you can use something like Google Keep, a combination of Google Keep and I'm going to say Google Docs, as that combination as a great way to capture those ideas and organize them so that you can quickly get back to them. I am in the Mac ecosystem, so I'm going to talk about things that tend to be more Mac centric, other than these generic ones that I use. Apple Notes, great centralized note taking tool. It has come a long, long way. You can save images, you can save PDFs, you can uh, do voice to text note taking in it. So if you are use a Mac computer, you use an iPad, use an iPhone, you use an Apple Watch, Apple Notes, it's a great solution. What I'm going to say is, decide now, if you have never made this decision. If you have not made a decision of what your primary note taking tool is, decide what your primary note taking tool is. It is unique to you. There's no one size fits all for everyone. I've shared some of the ones that are useful and that I'm familiar with and that I can help you with, and that others in the community can help you with. Again, Evernote, Google Keep, Apple Notes, Notion, those are some of the core. Even Google Docs will work for this. And why? You can outline your projects there. You can store important information in any of these. You can plan out ideas. You can capture. Remember, we talked about making a collage, a vision board? Most of these you can use, all of these you can use to make your vision board. So it stays visible to you. You can use it to make your digital vision board for 2025. So that's the core. It's your hub and the central part. You want to make sure that you figure out how you're going to organize those notes into using tags or notebooks. I'm going to show you using a couple of different ways to share some of that today in the demo, but I want to make sure y- do the thing that I said with task. Whatever you use today, if you use a digital tool, take the time now to look through it and purge old garbage that you're never going to use. I did some of that earlier today in my work, my corporate system, just notes that I'd taken that I'm never going to go back and use. I got rid of them because I'm setting up my corporate as well as the rest of my life for 2025. I'm doing that now. And so what I'm talking about, I'm actually doing. I'm not just talking about it. And I purged a whole bunch of notes that I'll never use. So take the time now to, just like you did with you will do with your task management tool, with your note management tool, take the time now to do some purging and set it up and organize it for the coming year. Okay? Very versatile. It's your core. Moving on, your calendar. This is where you're going to see where that 1,440 minutes go every day. This is how you see it. So let's talk about it. It helps you, as you know, stay on track from just a pure D. Where am I in the day? What's happening? In the world I'm going to talk about, I'm going to focus on two calendar tools. And later on, you'll see a different way I look at this. But Google Calendar and probably Microsoft Outlook, there are dozens and dozens and dozens of different ones. But let's just talk about these two. Both of them, you can create multiple calendars and separate out. You can have a family calendar, a personal calendar, a business calendar, a content creation calendar, uh, a pet calendar, one for the children or one for each child, and then see them all together where activities are overlapping. A time block calendar for your ideal week. You can put all of that into, I'm going to say a Google Calendar because that's actually what I use. Another one you can use is just the regular if you're in a Mac, your Apple Calendar works exactly the same. It allows you to see the 1,440 minutes. And I'm saying it that way because be aware of only putting things on your calendar like doctor's appointments and your job and parties or social events. That's not your entire life. You've got other commitments. You've got working out or exercise. You've got cooking dinner and preparing meals. You've got taking care of your home. You've got volunteer work that you're doing, a volunteer service. You've got your faith life. Put all of those items on those calendars so that you can see every one of them. And then you know, based on those predetermined activities, what remains for me to accomplish these goals that I've set. Because if you go into the year and you think, okay, I'm going to keep doing what I've done. I go to work for 8 hours a day, 9 hours a day, 10 hours a day. I drive 2 hours a day. I take the children to activities. And at the end of the year, you've not accomplished the things that are important to you. You look back and you've been doing stuff. You haven't been just sitting. And if you look at your calendar and you see none of your priorities in your calendar, not any of them. If you face that, let me know. Maybe you all are better than me. Let me know. I'd love to know that. But scheduling important activities. Again, a lot of you all are content creators of all stripes. Some are videos, some are doing other things. Are you scheduling those activities in your calendar? And if growing your content creation business is important, have you scheduled it out in your calendar so you can see, when am I filming? When am I designing? When am I writing? What are those time frames that I've got set up around everything else? Or are you going into 2025 the way you came into 2024 and then kind of slipped down the slippery slope in 2024, and it's chaotic and you have not allocated your time in a calendar? And you're just kind of, I feel like it, I don't feel like it. Oh, this thing popped up and now my whole day is off because something popped up that I didn't anticipate. Not trying to be cruel. Same rule. If you have a calendar or a set of calendars, take the time now to go through them, do a little bit of purging. Do you have things on there that you're really not doing anymore? Do you have uh, something you put on that digital calendar and you really aren't important? It's really not important to you. Get it off of there. Open that space up, open that time up for your priorities for 2025. Okay. The next one is habit tracking. This is one I don't talk about very often. It is so important. More of our life is run on habits than not. We build, we develop habits. We don't, and this is one that I have to work on in 2025, that I have chosen to work on for 2025. We don't typically track our habits. And so all those things that we do habitually because we don't think about them, we just do them because they're a habit. That's what a habit is. It's using up part of that 1,440 minutes a day. But it are the habits things that are really important, or are they just they've developed and we just haven't paid attention to them. A habit tracker will help you see, even if it's, I'm going to use one that's so common: reading. Reading. Reading either 10 pages a day or 15 minutes a day, or reading your Bible every day. We Oftentimes I hear people say that's something they want to do and they should do. That's the one that gets you. I should be doing. I know I should do this. The reason it's not happening is because we're not using anything to help us track whether we're doing, where we can see it objectively. So those routines that we have, morning routine, evening routine, weekend routine, those are habits. Look at them, put them in a tool, and this one is easy because you can just take your note-taking app. There are some apps that are habit specific, and I'll talk about one, but really just use your note-taking app and make your list. TickTick is a all-in-one. You can put notes in there, you can put projects in there, you can put tasks in there, but it also has a habit tracker feature built in. So if you really want a specific habit tracker app, I recommend TickTick. It's easy to use. You can put it on a computer, you can run it on your mobile device, and I believe they also have an Apple Watch, I think, Apple Watch application. But put your habits, either that you want to build, you want to change, in a tool, in an app, so you can see them and you can track whether you're doing them or not. And you won't be perfect in the beginning, especially if you're just starting. So if you use a habit tracker, let me know. Put it in the chat. Okay? So we're down to the last one of these kind of apps. that we're talking about. And that is things that you can do, you can use apps you can use for collaboration. And I don't want you to overlook collaboration. And I'm going to go from a couple of ways with this. You volunteer, I'm going to use this example. You volunteer with your HOA, your homeowners association. That means you're working with other people in your homeowner association, whether it's 2 people, 3 people, 30 people, whatever the number is. Many people think collaboration is emailing things back and forth. That is not collaboration. That's communication. Communication and collaboration are not the same. If you're working with a team of any type, you need to have a way for the entire team to be able to see information and have the same source of truth, and it's not in different places. So, using your HOA, if you all have meeting minutes that you prepare or meeting agenda, rather than everybody emailing stuff around and then somebody has to go through the emails and figure out who wants to do what and who wants to talk about what, put it in a collaboration tool. And I'm going to talk about Evernote. You can do this in Google Docs, by the way. Simple. You can do this in Apple Notes. Anything that allows you to let other people, any app that allows you to let other people use the app. So Apple Notes works, Evernote works, Notion works, Google Doc works, Google Keep works. Those are 5. And other than Evernote, they're all free. You can use them without paying any cash out your pocket and collaborate. That's oftentimes something we want to think about and consider. So, have a way that whatever that is, if it's building an agenda, that you have to build these agendas as a team regularly and you want to get input. If you're in content creation and you're collaborating with a guest or co-host, exact same scenario. You're building a run of show. Have that document someplace where the co-host can contribute to it and see it at the same time. It's not what's called asynchronous, and so it's not. It doesn't get out of sync. We stay in sync, and everybody's seeing the same information at the same time. This is counterintuitive if you are one of those people who rely on email it to me, email it to me, email it to me. Because the minute you hit email, it's out of date. Hit send on email, it's out of date. Somebody's going to change something and now you got to get it back together. If you've never thought of this, I hope this is helping you. So, again, collaboration tools. And if you are using them already, and there's another round of this is kind of communication, things like Discord and Slack and Microsoft Teams. Those are more communication based ways to communicate. Frankly, something as simple as Signals or WhatsApp or group text. Those are all communication platforms, but you're not really doing work in there. You're not updating documents and that sort of thing in there. When I say collaboration, it's, maybe it's a checklist and you need to make sure everybody knows what activities are happening, what have been done, what hasn't been done. Sharing updates, brainstorming ideas. That's what I mean by using a great collaboration tool. And all of these will work. Okay, that I shared. Again, Apple Notes, Evernote, Notion, Google Docs, Google Keep, just some simple ones. There are many others. So I'm going to come back and say hello to you all and see who has a question. And just kind of see what you guys have been up to. I see the chat has been going nuts over here. So let's just try to, I'm going to work my way up. Okay, so Aubrey says, I have been just writing on my daily to-do list and stuff. Aubrey, if that's working for you, I would love to know more if it's really working for you. If you're not collaborating with anyone, maybe that's sufficient. if you're taking time to rewrite and you don't have a one place where you can see the entire inventory, that may be something for you to consider. Aubrey, you also said habits have changed your life. Yeah, habits will change your life. Good ones and not good ones. Good ones and not good ones. Love, you all greeting each other. Yes, great to see you, David Hunt. Always, always, always. And David is over here giving moderator salute to all these people. And David, Miss Raven, Miss Yolanda Raven, moderator salute to you, young lady. Oh, awesome, Denise. You're in the Apple ecosystem. So if you're in the Apple ecosystem, some simple tools that work really well together come a long way. Apple Reminders and Apple Notes. Those two together and the Apple Calendar. Well, put those three together, and everything that I've covered tonight you can do with those three apps. Reminders, Apple Notes, and Apple Calendar. You can accomplish it all with those three apps if you're in the Apple ecosystem. I'm looking, you all are greeting each other. It's so nice to see. Aubrey said she uses Apple Notes. She switched over from Evernote. Awesome. And David, I know you love Google Keep and you use it all the time. And then Miss Denise, you say your problem is not having a consistent method. Yeah, I can relate, but I had to get consistent because it was too much stress to know where things were and when they're in different places. Now I do, as you well know, I do have my paper notebooks. I am a paper girl first. I write with fountain pens and that brings me joy and it connects with how I function. But ultimately it all gets into a digital system. All those notes and ideas, even, many times I'm just taking a picture of the page and throwing it into Evernote. But you could take a picture of the page and put it in Apple Notes, by the way, just so you're aware. Oh, thank you. You moved your show by half an hour earlier to try to help out my East Coast friends. Thank you, Miss Gretchen. Yes, and I love you being in Studio G. It is so nice. I'm still amazed that you built that thing by yourself pretty much. Yes, that bee was on a mission. It was on a mission trying to get you, but you were like, I am not going to be its lunch today. But I'm with you. I don't like being out. I don't like critters either. I don't like critters either. So, Denise, you say you use reminders and notes were probably incorrectly and didn't know about the calendar. Um, yeah, Frank, thank you for reminding me. I think I fixed the night block, David. So can you, everyone, just type the word equip in comment so I can see if it's working? It had disconnected from my channel and I don't know the reason it did it, but I reconnected it. So I'm hoping that it works. Just type the word equip and let's see if it's working this week, especially because we all support each other. All right. So we have a question here that I'm going to switch to. I'm going to answer your question. So if you have another question, put Q colon. How should I get started? I have a to-do list, a planner, then run a show for Thanksgiving co-host. So this is a good time for me to try to set up a demo and maybe I can, oh, good. It did work for you, Denise. Thank you. Yeah, the others should work as well. It may take a couple of minutes for it to come through. So I'm going to attempt to do a screen share, y'all. Don't laugh. Don't laugh at your sister. Don't laugh at your sister over here trying to do a screen share. Don't laugh at me. All right, here we go. Let's see if this is going to work right. All right. So and I know it's bright white, right? Bright white. This is Google Task. And let me move some stuff out the way. This is Google Task. But what I want to show you, Denise, because you can do this in Apple Notes. What in case you're wondering, I'm trying to think, can I bring up on the Apple Notes without showing something that's super private? I can't think of anything right now. But let me go through this and then I'll give this is an example that I want to show you. If you use Google, and Denise, I think you can also mimic this and I know you can mimic this in using Apple reminders. You can just make a series of lists. Like I love having an inbox list in everything. I put it everywhere. And then you can make a personal routine. This is in 2025. I put it in the wrong place. 2025 personal routine. And if you have a evening and a morning routine, whatever those items are, you can just make a list of them. And I actually do this in my actual Evernote. I have a note and I have my morning and my evening routine in there. And as I make adjustments through the year, I don't have to go scratch things out and I just go update that and print it and put the page in my book. And put a piece of washi tape and put it right there and I see it. So you can just make a list of routines. And the way you do this is just add the task. And then this is if you're using this, and then you can add on the overflow a subtask. So this is subtask. So this is subtask. That's how I made that little indented list. So you can use something as simple as Google Tasks to make this list and you have it and you can turn it on and off so that you don't have to see them all. It's just check and uncheck. So if you only want to see one set, just check the one you want to see and the others are not on the screen. That's a simple way to manage it. The other thing you can do, and let's see if this cooperates. And I love this when I found I could do this. So Denise, this is one thing you can do, and I believe you can do this in Apple Notes as well. In Google Docs, you can have, and I talked about if you have an agenda that you use for HOA, and I do this. I'll create an email. I have email drafts in Google Doc. So let's say this is agenda for upcoming show. And you can have a formatted thing here. I'm just putting random content in. You can actually put in, I'm going to put myself in here, but to put the email addresses in and just leave it sitting. When I get ready to hit send, I click on this little M and it sends that as an email. So that's a way you can set up your environment. If you've got a series of emails that you send out, you can put them in as a pre-formatted Google Doc. I do the same thing in my text expander. It's just pre-formatted, hit a button, it's gone. The point is you're going to put these systems in place and these options in place to make it easy for you so you can execute, 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 execute. The other thing you can do, however, if you don't like using Google Task, you can just make yourself a master to-do list here. I can't type in front of people. And just put a checkbox. So if it works for you, you can use something as simple as this. Don't have to make it hard. And Denise, I know you can do the same thing in Apple Notes. You can put checklist right in Apple Notes. And then you simply share it and you my phone is locked here. You I'm trying to get to my Apple Notes here so I can see if I can do anything without it causing a problem. This is when you Apple Notes. There it goes. So yeah, just click the create the note and add your to-do list there and click the up arrow to share, and then you can send it to the person, or yeah, hit the up arrow and share it and pick the person's name that you want to share with. And that's all you got to do, and send it. Okay? So I share notes with a couple of people because they don't use Evernote. So I just share it in Apple Notes. So you can I hit the wrong button. You can use your Google Doc. You can use I want to close these. You can use Google Keep. You can also use you can use Google Task. Where's Google Keep at? I know it's in here. You can use Google Keep, which I've shown you before. And you can create a note. And you can click the little person, collaborate, and put the person's email address in, and they'll see it in Google Keep, you'll see it in Google Keep, and you both are seeing the exact same information as it's being updated. So that's one way to collaborate using this tool. I know I've shown you a lot and I've flipped around. I want you to start creatively thinking, how can I use this to make my ability to get my goals accomplished in 2025 smoother and easier for me? That's my whole point. Now, the other tool that I use, and I know some of you don't, but I'm going to take a minute and show you um, Evernote. So I've got a notebook called Project Strategic Plan for 2025. And this is a template. So I'll put my areas of responsibility here. I've got business goals, and I can turn these into a checklist. I can also turn these into you got to be able to see, Florence, a task that show up in my task list. So either way, they work. I've got my business routine. Again, if I wanted to show up in my task list, I just change it from a checklist into a task list, into a task. And it's all in the same place. If I want to add to it, delete from it, I can throughout the year. If I want it on paper, I just print this note. I can combine these into one note. I tend to like to put them in separate notes, however. And then if I want to go a step further and have my mission and vision statement where I can always get to it, and then list out my goals, why that goal is important to me, and my individual actions, my plan, my actions, what I wanted, my reward, chocolate cake, and what my target date is. I can move these around. So what I'm showing you here, you can build the same framework or set of tables in Apple Notes. You can build it in Notion. You can build it in a Google Doc. You can build it in Google Keep. Nothing special. The tool doesn't matter. It's thinking about, how do I structure my information? Calendar. Link this to my calendar. Can I? Actually, I can, so that I'm able to execute very quickly. So, hopefully, this has been valuable to you and you have gotten something out of tonight. And if you have any more questions, I'm looking very quickly here to see if anyone has any more questions. I'm not seeing any. Any more questions? So Denise, how do you get started? I would just make a um in Apple reminders is probably the way I would do it. I would create a list. I would share that list with your co-host right from your Apple reminders, and you all would update. So as you're checking off what's getting done, each of you can check it off and you can see it. And then if you want to have more text, like writing out paragraphs and that sort of thing, create an Apple note and share that note with your co host or your collaborator. And you both are updating that note at the same time. Don't try to make a whole big folder structure. Just create the note, create the Apple reminders list, and those two things: one reminders list and one note, and work with your collaborator in those two items. That like just that simple. Don't make it any more complicated than that. Don't try to come up with a fancy name. We'll get to that later. Just start. Just simply start. And you can test it with me. I think you still have my phone number. If you want to test it with someone, you should have my phone number. If you don't, let me know. Email me and let me know, and I'll give it back to you. But I believe you still have it. And share with me, and then we can test it together. And then when you get ready to do the real work, you will have done it with somebody, and you know it works for you. I'm here to support you and help you, and you know that. Okay. Hey, Tora, I didn't see you slide in here, young lady. You slid in the side door. So some of you all, I'm going to ask one, what apps do you use to organize and track your goals? Tora, I think you are a big Notion user um, as well. So you slid in here. Glad to have you in the building with us. So I see you, young lady, getting it done. We don't want to have people sputtering into 2025. We want them roaring into 2025 executing. Okay, Denise, I will email you and make sure you have my number. Okay? Never thought to use these tools. Denise says, I've never thought of using these tools in that way. So simple, but so important. Yes. If one person has an iPad and the other person has a phone, or both people, and one person has a computer and another person have an iPad, using the Apple ecosystem for that connection will work wonders. And it's simple and it doesn't require either person to learn something that they're not already familiar with. Yeah, you did. You just slid right in here, young lady. All right. I don't see any other questions from anyone. Miss Denise, I will get back to you so we can do a test so that you're comfortable with your coworker, your collaborator. So, gang, we've got one more week to be ready and have all our 2025 plans laid in, done in our system, regardless of what you use. Make sure you have a place to keep your task and you're consistent in where that is. Use your calendar to plan your whole 24 hours. Pick your note-taking application, the one that will work for you. And if you haven't chosen one, let me know. Reach out to me. You can leave a comment in the comment. You can go to the website, whichever way you want, and I'll work with you to pick one that works for you. And then if you collaborate, and when you collaborate, because we all do, use a tool that allows you to collaborate so that you and everyone else you're working with have a consistent source of truth for the information that you're sharing. And be reluctant to ship information back and forth in email, specifically sending documents back and forth in email and list is so easy to get out of sync doing it that way. And then you're spending more energy and more time trying to figure out which is accurate and where are we. Make it easy on yourself and keep it simple. Keep it simple. Simple is powerful. Simple is powerful. So don't be so quick to make it complicated. I've done that. So don't be so quick to make it complicated. Keep it simple as you can to achieve your goals. Okay? Okay. Awesome. So I'm glad to have you guys in the building. Awesome. I see you, Miss Denise. You said you can, I'm hitting the wrong buttons. I can pick Apple Notes and reminders on, and all the people I send info to have either an iPhone or an iPad. Awesome. Well, that will work for you. Yeah, 1 week, no pressure. Yes, we need to be done. We need to be done with this. December, you are working on Q1. If you haven't already started, you are already in execution for Q1. If you're not, you are going to go into 2025 way behind. And that's what we don't want that. We want you to go into 2025 full steam ahead, foot on the gas, going, not sputtering and rocking. That's not what we want. Okay? That's why we're doing this now. If you have not done the simple things that we've talked about, your mission statement, your vision statement, updated your core values or looked at them or refined them, okay? Picked your tools that we talked about tonight, laid out what your goals are, looked at your strategic plan to pull forward the goals that you need to focus on in your personal strategic plan, you got this week. You got this week. You're going to be doing a whole lot of work in 1 week if you haven't been doing that as we've gone through this month. So, but you can do it. You can do it. And I have faith in you and I believe in you and I know that you all are amazing and there's nothing you cannot do because through him, all things are possible. You can do all things, but you won't do them alone. You will do it with God, the Holy Spirit. That's how you'll get it done. All things. So, I have enjoyed hanging out with you tonight, gave you your homework, and a reminder is going to be right here. Click on it and you'll know how to work through your personal strategic plan in this next week. See you guys next week.